Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Ashraf Azim. My supervisor is Dr. Haziq. My topic CME today is diagnosis and management of the colon carcinoma. So first we start with the anatomy of the colon. So the colon is large intestine is the extent from the ileum to the cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, and rectum. So the average length is about 135 to 150 centimeter. The ascending and descending colon are fixed, but the cecum, transverse, and sigmoid colon are mobile. So this mobile structure usually can undergo twisting or valvulus. Large intestine can be recognized by the presence of the pinaculi, which is the muscular band. Ostration is a circulation between the tinea and appendices epiclocae, which is a small pouch of the peritoneum filled with the fat and is usually absent in the rectum. So the ileocecal valve usually serve as the sphincter to prevent reflux to the terminal ileum. So the function of colon, the main is to absorption of water and also sodium, potassium, and bisalt. And also have production of gas and presence of colonic bacteria, mostly E. coli. So this bacteria can degrade the bipigment and also produce of vitamin K. The blood supply of the large intestine for the cecum to the splenic fracture by ileocolic, right colic, and middle colic artery. The descending colon and the sigmoid colon by left colic, sigmoid, and superior rectal arteries. For the venous drainage by superior mesenteric vein and inferior mesenteric vein. For the lymphatic drainage is by epicolic, paracolic, intermediate, and principal group of lymph node, and the nerve supply sympathetic via the superior and inferior mesenteric ganglia, parasympathetic via vagus and pelvic nerve, and colonic motility is under control of the ANS. Okay, so we start with the main topic, introduction of the colon CA. Colon CA is the most common malignancy of the GI tract. So the incidence of the colon CA increase with age and more common in male. The clinical feature will be depend on the tumor location, size, and also presence of the metastasis. So it's the most commonly adenocarcinoma location. First, the cecum is about 20%, ascending colon about 5%, then the hepatic and splenic fracture is about 2%, and transverse and descending colon about 5%, sigmoid colon about 20%, and the highest part is the rectum, which is 40%. So before we start the main topic, we should know a few terminology. The first is synchronous carcinoma. Is defined as those occurring within 6 months of the primary carcinoma or 2 or more histologically distinct simultaneously detected malignancy, or more than one malignancy at the time of the initial diagnosis. So colon, head and neck, and esophagus are the site of the synchronous carcinoma. So it's very important to do the complete colonoscopy when patient come with chronic carcinoma, because patient might have another synchronous carcinoma at the other side. Then metachronous colonic carcinoma. this occurring more than 6 months after resection of the first malignancy. Example, colorectal, breast and kidney is more common in female and usually at young age. The last one is familial colorectal carcinoma. So all these have the carrier gene and run in families. So usually this malignancy occur in young age and often synchronized carcinoma. So this is a high risk factor for colon CA. First, familial adenomatous polyposis. Hereditary non-polyposis colon CA is either Lynch syndrome 1 or 2. Family history of colorectal carcinoma, age more than 50 years old. Inflammatory bowel disease is either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Poor dietary, which they consume in high fat, red meat and decreased fiber. Alcohol and smoking, and patient that has done ureterosigmoidostomy, which has 100 to 500 times increased risk. So we start with the benign tumor first, because some of the benign tumor have the risk to be malignancy. So usually benign tumor we refer as polyp. So there are few benign tumor: adenomatous polyp, juvenile polyp, familial adenomatous polyposis, and hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer. So the adenomatous polyp usually can has about 10% to be a malignant, and also the most common usually in Malaysia is familial polyposis coli of familial adenomatous polyposis. So this is a genetic disorder. Is present of the gene APC located at the short arm of chromosome 5. So this can be Gardner syndrome when this polyp associated with desmoid tumor, craniofacial osteoma, epidermolysis, congenital hypertrophy of the retinal pigment epithelium. Or is also can be turcoid syndrome when it is associated with CNS tumor and glioblastoma. So to diagnose the FAP, when we do the colonoscopy, it show more than 100 polyps and positive for genetic testing. For the clinical feature, usually patient will have blood and mucus in stool, lower abdominal pain, anemia, weight loss, and protein malnutrition. The risk of malignancy is 100%. So to investigate this FAP usually by colonoscopy. For the treatment usually by NSAID, Sulindac 300 mg BD and also aspirin 325 mg OD. It can reduce the size of the polyp. And for surgical, we can do subtotal colectomy with ileorectal anastomosis. For surveillance, we do yearly colonoscopy for at-risk family members from 12 years old onward, and also genetic testing of at-risk family members. So we start with our main topic, the colon CA. First, we have to get the complete history. So from the history, we should get the risk factor. If the patient is either like I mentioned before, is smoking or consume alcohol, and then if there is any family members having the colorectal CA, and then also the symptom which I will elaborate more after this. And for physical examination, depend on the size of the tumor, sometimes we can palpate from the abdomen and also DRE. For clinical features, usually for the right colon, patient commonly will have unexplained weakness and also anemia. If left colon, they will change in bowel habit. In right colon, there is acute blood in stool. If the left colon, there's a gross blood in stool. And for abdominal discomfort, right colon have right side and also dyspeptic symptom. And left colon, usually patient will associated with constipation and also obstruction. So the obstruction is more common in the left colon because the left colon is more narrow and the feces is more solid. So the incidence is right colon is more common in female, while left colon is more common in male. But in rectum CA, so patient usually have constipation, pendulous bleeding, early morning spurious diarrhea, tenesmus, and also weight loss. So for investigation for colon CA, first we do the routine investigation like FBC. We look for the HB which can indicate the anemia. ESR might be increased. Then positive in stool or blood, LFT, RP, and also ECG for before the surgery. For the diagnostic test, the first usually we can do is ultrasound, which can is a baseline investigation. It can detect the colonic mass, liver metastasis, ascites, and also para-aortic node. Then CT scan is more precise about the mass, anatomical location, and there is involvement of the serosa, also infiltration to other adjacent structure and also to detect the metastasis. For colonoscopy, it's more invasive, but it's diagnostic and also gold standard investigation. So during colonoscopy, we can take biopsy for final confirmation. We also can do MRI. It's better for the assessment of the preferential resected margin. Better for stage T3 and T4 and to know the nodal staging. Lastly, for metastatic workup, so usually we can do the chest X-ray to look any for example cannonball secondaries, CEA. Gross increase may suggest advanced stage. Then CT scan to know the local and distant metastasis, and also PET scan in follow-up case if the CEA trend is increasing. So for the staging of the colon CA, first do staging. Stage A, invasion but do not breaching the muscularis propria. Stage B, breaching the muscularis propria but not involving the lymph node. Stage C, lymph node are involved. Stage D, in modified Duke staging, they mentioned about distant metastasis. So the TNM staging is more useful for us because for better management. So the T is stand for the primary tumor. If TX means primary tumor cannot be assessed, T0 means there's no evidence of the primary tumor. TIS means carcinoma in situ, the epithelial or invasion of the lamina propria. T1, tumor invade the submucosa. T2, the tumor invade the muscularis propria. T3, tumor invade through the muscularis propria into the subserosa or into the peritonealized pericolic and perirectal tissue. And T4, the tumor directly invade the other organs or structure. For the N means the regional lymph node. So if NX means regional lymph node, it cannot be assessed. N0, there's no regional lymph node metastasis. If N1 means metastasis in 1 to 2 regional lymph nodes, and N2 metastasis in 4 or more regional lymph nodes. For M is a distal metastasis, so MX, distal metastasis cannot be assessed. M0, no metastasis, and M1, distal metastasis. So for the management, depend on the site of the CA. If cecum is involved, so usually we do the right hemicolectomy. The part that we resect usually terminal ileum to the mid transverse colon. Same thing for the ascending colon. For hepatic fracture involvement, usually we do the extended right hemicolectomy. So the part that we resect usually terminal ileum to descending colon. Same if transverse colon is involved. For splenic fracture, we do the extended left hemicolectomy. So the bowel resector usually right fracture to rectosigmoid colon. And if descending colon affected, so we do left hemicolectomy. The bowel part that resected is left fractured until the sigmoid colon. In case of the rectum, if upper rectum, usually we do the high anterior resection. If lower rectum, we do the abdominal perineal resection. This is when the sphincter also resected. In middle rectum, it's either lower anterior resection, which the sphincter is preserved, or the abdominal perineal resection. So for the post-operative, first for chemotherapy, indication for chemotherapy if the all nodes are positive, or if the node is negative, but the T4 lesion involving free mesothelial surface or major microscopic vein involvement, or signet cell carcinoma, or high preoperative CEA, aneuploidy on flow cystometry, and also microsatellite instability. For radiotherapy, usually adenocarcinoma colon does not respond well to the radiation, so usually it's not be done. But it's indicate when the soft tissue infiltration into the psoas muscle or abdominal wall, or also inoperable recurrent tumor. In case of rectal CA, we can use as a neoadjuvant therapy in stage T3 and also T4. So for the follow-up of the case of colorectal carcinoma, usually we take occult blood once in 3 to 6 months. We do colonoscopy 6 months after surgery, then we do once a year. We take ALP once in 3 to 6 months for 3 years, CEA once in 3 months, and chest X-ray and also MRI yearly. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Any question?
The follow-up cases tu, pusing balik belakang. How do you follow up? Which guideline are you using this one?
This one I take from the Manipal surgery of the.
Kenapa tak guna Malaysian colorectal CPG? This is not right. This is not the one that we practice.
Oh,
Anyone want to comment about this? How we follow up colorectal cancer? Any MO from TC? Ada tak?
Saya.
Come say.
Usually in a patient who had not completed a colonoscopy before surgery, so it is the colonoscopy need to be done within 6 months after the surgery, and then follow up based on the HP findings. The repeat colonoscopy is needed based on the findings of the previous colonoscopy. Usually it's either once a year, then after probably do it once in every after 3 years.
What does CPG say? To complete 6 months if not yet completed, meaning that the patient presented with emergency. So we go for emergency surgery. So immediately within 6 months you have to complete the punya colonoscopy. Okay, to rule out any synchronous tumor. So if let's say it's completed tumor like elective, then we repeat a year after completed treatment.
Correct.
Okay. If normal, subsequently when you repeat, 3 to 5 years.
Yes, 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. And then, okay, next, what else you monitor?
CA level.
CA level, how frequent?
3 months for the first year.
Right.
Then 6 monthly.
6 monthly, subsequent years.
Subsequent. Yeah.
Alright. So what about CT scan? By right, recommended every year, yearly CT scan. But somehow Malaysia, we cannot cope with yearly CT scan. So we focus for those who are stage 3 and above, high risk cases. Then only we do every year CT scan. If let's say patient is stage 1 cancer, stage 2, then normally we don't do. We just do CEA and colonoscopy. And then if let's say CEA is raised, then only we proceed with CT scan to look for any distant metastasis. Alright, only 3 things that we do: colonoscopy, CT scan and CEA. And not to forget the clinical finding, like you follow up, ask about the history of physical examination. That's what we do. Okay? Any question about colorectal cancer? All housemen have to know about this, and this is very common colon cancer, number 1 in Malaysia. Okay? Patient presented to you with PR bleed, don't simply diagnose as a hemorrhoid until you do proctoscope. In fact, if you go proctoscope, you see there's a hemorrhoid, you have to refer. And patient might need a screening colonoscopy. Understand or not?
yes, boss.
Okay. Just now you talk about RT. Just now, can you go the previous slide? I see something about radiotherapy. Radiotherapy. This one like radiotherapy indication. Okay, indication for radiotherapy only for rectal cancer, not for colon cancer. Management of colon cancer and rectal cancer is different, okay? Your topic today is colon cancer, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, then where you mix up with the colon and rectum? It's two different things, management. If you if you want to manage colorectal cancer, you have to talk about CCRT, MRI and all. If you want to manage colon cancer, different thing. Don't mix up. Radiotherapy meant for rectal cancer, not colon cancer.
Oh, okay, boss.
Okay, I think that's all. Anything you want to ask me? Semua faham, Okay then, can proceed.